second at 11, tee shot at 12, both shots at 13, the tee shot and the second shot, and then the second at 15. So the drive just gets you in play, but you got to hit a good one. Max Homas is leaking towards the right, where there are more trees than there used to be, and some pine straw, and Homas in that pine straw amongst those trees, but I don't think the tree's going to block him out for body strength. Tee shot away, straight as an arrow. Beautiful in the fairway at the 11th.
He really hasn't missed a shot today. Now, he maybe got the wrong club, but it wasn't like he hit any bad shots thus far.
I mean, you used to see at his best a couple of foul balls with the speed. He's not generating that speed, and you're seeing control. Right there at number 11, we'll go back to 12 and John. More in a minute. You're listening to Masters Radio on
Road Dog Trucking Radio.
We can discuss whatever is on your mind.
Regulation in the trucking industry.
Alternative fuels. Issues in Congress and in our government.
Amenities and urbanomics.
Steps to becoming an owner-operator. How to run a business.
Standardized wages and benefits for truck drivers.
The importance of the supply chain.
We get into any number of topics.
For the business of trucking.
It really is very diverse.
To keep drivers happy and informed from anywhere on the road.
It's Road Dog Trucking Radio.
Sirius XM, channel 146.
With the Sirius XM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Eddie Van Halen.
What about Prince?
You have to include Slash and Jimmy Page.
B.B. King and Bonnie Raitt.
The Edge changed everything.
The debate continues with rebellious riffs and 6-string solos on the SiriusXM Guitar Greats channel. All hail International Guitar Month. SiriusXM Guitar Greats on channel 107 and year-round on the SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's nice. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, that's nice.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Bitty Bitty Beachy. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network and the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me, and people who love the universe, what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. As I told you, I've been elected to be the neighborhood spokesperson. They call it neighborhood watch person. I gotta tell people what's going on in the neighborhood as the governors all over the country are trying to make stealing packages off of someone's front door a felony if you do it the 3rd time. Isn't that something? That'll teach them. But I'm trying to bring people together. They just don't like when I do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's when the bad guys are out. You know the freaks come out at night to take stuff off of people's porches. And that's why I like to bring the neighborhood together to scare away the bad guys on the beautiful April 11th. The 2024 Today Show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sent you with a good lunch bless you. As well as driving the fleet of Cadillac cars all over the universe. I want to tell you what I love with Big C Sports Podcast, and sometimes people don't appreciate it, but I appreciate it, and that's what matters the most. But I always say, everybody has their own flavor. They have the Masters going on, the 88th Masters, and I said Big C won. I said if Big C won the 88th Masters, wouldn't that be great if I won the Masters and nobody believed that I was going to do it at first, but I said I'm going to do it in your life. Get in the hole. You want to get in the hole as many times as you can in life. That's what I've been told by my great granddaddy. You got to get in the hole as many times as possible, and that makes life more enjoyable. That's what I heard by a lot of golfers. They're always trying to get in the hole. If you ever played the game of golf, you know how good it feels. It's such a great feeling when you get in the hole. That's why a lot of people spend a lot of money trying to get in the hole, if that makes sense to you, down at the 88th Masters. But I want to tell you what I do with Big C Sports Podcast because I love what I do. I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that's based out of California, Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I'm always going to make sure that I don't waste my mind, if that makes sense to you. I want to say with the Big C Sports Podcast, I always produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast all the shows, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then the sound effects and the commercials are done, the stats are providing. I even do the storytelling, and then I do the play-by-play. Big C with the putt from the 16th hole. The ball is rolling downhill, rolling in your life. Big C putted it in on the 16th, and now he's 9 on the par. Isn't that something? That would put me in first place at the Masters right now. But some people didn't want to give me a chance. If that makes sense here, but I give myself a chance. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And then streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Then number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew back in the days of Salem Media. And now we have people who miss a day of practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. People missing a day of practice, but I never miss a show. Through joy, pain, sunshine, and rain with Big C Sports Podcast. I also want to make sure what I do, because to me it's really important. I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline because they do a really good job of helping our veterans get help. You know, anybody going through issues, we love to salute our veterans, but what do we do when somebody gets hurt? Not just physically, but mentally. Well, they have a Veterans Crisis Hotline, and they are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's nice when somebody's leaning back, and that's what I love doing with Big C Sports Podcast. You can always find a time to give help to somebody, and that's why I love giving out the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because oftentimes people take for granted that the veterans are okay, and we don't know if they're okay unless you reach out and ask. And that's what I love doing. I know we want to pay attention to the Masters with all the talk about what happened with the O.J. Simpson situation, or O.J. Simpson passed away, and they said a prostate cancer, which is something that we should all get screened for, especially men and women too. I believe women don't have a prostate, but they should still get their screening. But every man should get a screening at least once a year. And, you know, I mean, sometimes they say it's so preventable. And you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't go to the doctor and get your checkups, then what good is the money? You can't take it with you, if that makes sense to you. But what you can take with you is a commercial that I'm doing for Big C Sports Podcast. It's called The Big C Team with RDC, a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, resource development consulting, the missing link, in conjunction with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones, long-term care solution by the book, over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare, and you taking care of tomorrow. Healthcare coverage in California is called Medi-Cal, and many other places it's called Medicaid. And the benefit to you is your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options when you listen to Big C Sports Podcast commercial with RDC. I promise to you. Now, I make my commercials live. I don't go into a room and screen my commercials in 3 or 4 times or 20 times and then pick the best. If I make a mistake, you hear it live. I don't like to make mistakes. And no one likes to be put on the spot unless they're pretty sure what they do. I'm telling you right now, I do my commercials in front of you. You don't have to wait to see if I made a mistake. You know what? If I make a mistake, people let me know. If I do it right, oftentimes people don't say anything. But I promise to you, in my commercial, we specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your ass, without a spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, medical equipment costs, and more. Do you know anybody dealing with skilled nursing facilities? How about prescriptions? Do you know anyone dealing with prescriptions? Might even be you. Do you know anyone dealing with medical equipment costs and more? Well, with the RDC team, we help you with the protection of your assets, if that makes sense to you, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program, which can be from 10 to 40%. That's egregious. Probate loves when you show up with your assets not protected. Because they will get the hole, if that makes sense to you. You don't want the government to do like the golfers when they scream, get in the hole! Because if you don't have a trust protecting your assets, you know what the probate courts will do when you show up? They will get in the hole! They'll try to take everything they can, if that makes sense to you. We have a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. And not only that, the reason you should deal with the Big C team and the RDC protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. What about fixed assets? I'm glad you asked. Bank account, checking account, savings account, money market, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed indexed annuities. What about variable asset fixing? I'm glad you asked. Real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, other investments. Avoid capital gains, the step-up basis. For example, you buy a house in San Francisco for $100,000, and then a year from now it's worth $1 million, according to some people who tell you, for those brokers that are out there telling you, Milan is right, and they want to tell you that the property values will always go up, that they'll never go down. That's what a lot of brokers are telling right now. I was on a meeting this morning. They tell them, sell it now. Sell that property in that 7%. You know, you buy the house $100,000 and next year's worth $1 million. No capital gains tax if you have the property in a trust. The capital gains would be $900,000. If it's in a trust, it's assessed at the value of the property at the time, not when you bought it and the profit you made. You get that 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Now, you business owners, over 3 decades of experience, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. And why would we call 800-772-8624, Big C? I'm glad you asked, because when you look at our endorsements, it's powerful. You know, Big C Sports, co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project.com. That's nationalblackwallstreetproject.com, co-chair, and also with RDC Business Development Consultant. Not only that, we have the endorsements of the Mr. George Jones Esquire, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, also works with some of the top lobbyists in California. Also, not only that, Ms. Cheryl Brown, she's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. Not only that, Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, been doing this thing for over 3 decades. Have the endorsement of the late attorney, Mr. Carlson, Robert Carlson, who was the top dog for CalPERS, if that makes sense to you. And then, not only that, Mr. Alex De La Cruz, founder of American Veterans Benefits. And not only that, you had the Big C team with Charlton Curry. And that's what I say, if you deal with RDC and the Big C team, and that's part of my infomercial, we help you protect your assets. Get in the hole. That's what the golfers love saying it. If you want to protect your assets, you're up on the 16th, and you got to drive, and you get the iron out, and you hit it, and you say, get in the hole. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure you get in the hole as many times as possible in your life. Get in the hole as many times as possible. That's how you win a 6 Masters jacket, if that makes sense to you. How do you win the Masters jacket again, Big C? You gotta get in the hole. If that makes sense to you, I want to tell you, Big C, why do you talk so much about getting in the hole in politics? I want to tell you why. Big C Sports, I was told by the Associated Press, it was Janie Hart. She did a story on reparations, and she called me and asked for an interview. You can Google it. It was picked up by NBC News, CBS News, Fox News, ABC News. Oh, there you go again, bragging, Big C. I'm not bragging. This stuff it's in writing. It says California reparations. March 30, 2023, Charlton Curry of Sacramento, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast, says that cash payments are necessary and that money talks. May lightning strike! Get in the hole! If that makes sense to you. So that's where the credibility comes from. And as you're thinking of getting in the hole, the more you get in the hole, usually the more times you have a chance to win that green jacket, if that makes sense to you. You can also, while you're trying to get in the hole, you can Google Senate Bill 490, Freedmen's Bureau of California. When I talk reparations, I back it up. It's not just my opinion. I want to make sure that I give you facts and information that you can look at and see if you want to be a part of the solution or part of the problem. Like if you're the Masters and you can drive that ball down the greens, you say, get in the hole. You can even say when they try to putt the ball in the hole, but I like to do it for my driver, if that makes sense to you. I want to also say I'm the only sports show in the universe that pays homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. While you're trying to watch the golfers, get in the hole. Are you getting in the hole? Are you getting in the hole? I want to say with Big C Sports Podcast, I want to make sure that I always pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because they want to, like you, when it comes to reparations, they want to say, get in the hole. I want to thank the chair, Attorney Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Emmett C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepping. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's an expert when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. Attorney, he's also a member of the California Reparations Task Force. Give them all praise. It's not just me. I'm not just sucking and jiving. I'm not telling you just listen to me. These are great men and women. And I want them to work with the RDC and the Big C team and National Black Wall Street Project to make sure when it comes to people trying to avoid probate and protecting your assets, get in the hole. I want to make sure I do that part. I believe in either lead, follow, or get out of the way. And what I do with the Big C Sports Podcast, I want to have our smart minds. When smart people get together, good things usually happen. And that's what I want to do with Big C Sports Podcast. I can't do it all on my own. I reach out to a lot of people that are smart, erudite, well-read, and they want to do the right thing for a lot of people. And that's what I want to do with Big C Sports Podcast. I know a lot of people just want to watch golf, and they want to watch the Masters, and they want to see who's going to win the Augusta Invitational Tournament down in Georgia. Not near, it should be near Stone Mountain, Georgia. But they do it. They show up and they watch it because they want to see who can win the game. And Big C team, I want you to win the game too. It's important. may light this strike. I love what I do with the Big C Sports Podcast. I want to talk about some things that happened today, but I also want to give some more praise to people that are part of what I'm doing with Big C Sports. I want to thank Double O, part of the National Black Wall Street Project Payout Committee, has our own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And everybody loves to eat. Really do appreciate her. She sent the executive order 13985 on further advancing equity and support for communities of color. President Biden signed that into office when he got elected in his first term. Also, Double O sent me an article from the United Nations. It said that strong political will and support are necessary to help create reparations for the descendants of child slavery. And she has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. I want to give that praise. I want to thank Brother Aleem Shabazz. He's the owner of Best Sports Media. Also, has been the best filming of the California Reparations Task Force meeting back in last year, the 29th of June 2023, and doing some work with him with the National Black Wall Street Project.com. So I want to get into some things today. Not only golf, I'm going to get into some golf, but I want to take the time to announce what a lot of people know has already happened. O.J. Simpson passed away, and obviously the media wants to paint him in whatever issue they want to paint him, and rightly so. People have their own thoughts. He was accused of a crime, and he was announced not guilty of the crime, the criminal crime, but in the civil case, another jury with a different complexion, they said guilty. They happen to be a white jury for the most part, and they wanted to award damages. And so people have their own belief whether they trust the LAPD that was shown on videotape beating Rodney King. I believe that was in 1992, and that's the similar jury. They said that you didn't see with your lying eyes what those officers are doing when they were beating Rodney King. They beat him, and they said that he was resisting arrest as they were tasing him and beating him on the ground. And the white jury that said not guilty, they didn't see anything wrong with beating that black man. In fact, he shouldn't have been laying on the ground. Why was he laying on the ground? He was scaring people. You know, they voted, they unanimously said not guilty to the law enforcement that did that. And the whole world saw it. They acquitted them. That same jury and the demographic of that jury, they later got the chance to sit there in judgment of O.J. Simpson, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty. Well, they were determined to get him back. And they awarded in the civil trial damages. I mean, I feel for anyone that loses a life. But the mainstream media in America, I remember the day there were people in schools, the world went on pause when they announced the verdict with Johnny Cochran, the late Johnny Cochran, and Robert Sparrow, etc. And Bailey was one of the other attorneys. There are a lot of attorneys. But at the same time, America stopped and they went on pause so they could hear what happened in the O.J. Simpson case, where there was, I believe, Ron Goldman and then Nicole Brown Simpson. And as the case was about to be heard, you know, America went on pause. America wanted to hear what the jury was going to do, and they were hoping they would get a guilty case. They were hoping they would get a guilty verdict. And that's what people knew they were waiting for. That's why mainstream media covered it. And there were people saying, I can't believe those lying juries, how did not see what we saw? But the same kind of situation happened when Rodney King was beaten. I don't know if there's 12 officers. And a jury, a white jury, they said not guilty. We don't see anything wrong with that. But then the same demographic, they awarded guilty on something they did not see. Chew on that for a moment. They saw law enforcement beating a man in Rodney King. I believe it was 1992. And they said it was a high-speed chase, and the kind of car he drove didn't approach the speeds that would warrant a high-speed chase. But they saw with their own eyes a man beaten by a law enforcement that's sworn to protect and serve. And a white jury said, not guilty. We don't see anything wrong. But something they saw with their own eyes. not guilty. And then something they did not see with their own eyes, by that same LAPD, when they put on their case, they were upset that they did not get the verdict they thought they could get because they trusted the LAPD. That same LAPD that was beating the man while he was on the ground, and a white jury said, not guilty. We don't see anything wrong with that. He must have done something wrong. Why else would they beat him? And then mainstream media, white media, they took over and made it about race. Oh, there you go again, Big C talking about race. If you read the book Black Codes, BLACKCODES, it talks about how even law enforcement has treated black Americans, descendants of child of slavery. And then they got away with it from 1619 to 1865, and then the Black Codes, that was written for Jim Crow. If that makes sense to you. They made it about race. And I feel for anyone that lost their life. But if the same enmity for the taking of a life was used across the board, what would those juries think about paying reparations to descendants of child of slavery that were murdered, lynched, hanged, burned, set fire, lost their lives with impunity, without even a jury trial? And they say, oh, they don't deserve no reparations. From 1619 to 1865, all the lynchings, all the murders that happened to descendants of child of slavery, and we have white juries that wouldn't even try some of these people. In the Black Wall Street massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, not one person was even arrested. There were mobs of white people that murdered hundreds of black American citizens. Not even one indictment. The lady that caused the lynching, the beating, and the murder of Emmett Till, the white lady, said that he merely whistled at her, and then a white mob came and they murdered him. Killed him dead. Never even had anyone indict her for lying. It was proven that she lied. What was the white outrage? Was there any white outrage? There was none. So if there's no white outrage for Emmett Till being murdered by a mob of white people, no outrage when Rodney King was seen beaten by law enforcement officers, and then they acquitted the law enforcement officers. That same LAPD has had its own problems with people in the African American community. And because you can't have double jeopardy, you can't retry someone who gets off on a trial, on a criminal, on the murder trial. They got him on the criminal trial, or the civil trial, beg your pardon. Not a lawyer, not trying to play one. But if I find the outrage so vocal about someone needing money for what he was acquitted for. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. So there are many people that say that the late O.J. Simpson now owed millions of dollars to the murder victims of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, their families. If that's the case, and that's what the jury decided, if the murder of two white individuals, according to the white jury, is worth $100 million, what will the descendants of child of slavery get for the murder of millions of black Americans, sanctioned by the government? From 1619 to 1865. Oh, you're scaring me, Big C. You're scared. You sound so angry, Big C. I'm not angry. I'm saying if the white jury is going to say that two victims of homicide, the family members should get $100 million. Maybe we should put that same jury in charge of the payout for reparations. If two white citizens, God rest their soul, are worth over $100 million, how many more millions of dollars should descendants of child of slavery get? I said, I'll ask you one more time. If two white citizens, victims of homicide, unfortunately, if they're worth, according to a white jury, over $100 million, then how much more should descendants of child slavery get from the United States government in reparations for the murdering of millions of black Americans? And people who say they don't believe in reparations, if you don't believe in reparations, how could a jury want to award the families over $100 million? God rest their soul. And I'm okay with the jury saying whatever the jury says. But if two white citizens are worth $100 million, what are millions of black Americans' families? What do we do? So O.J. Simpson, now the late O.J. Simpson, was found liable in court in 1997 to pay over $100 million. Some people say $33 million in compensation to the families of murder victims, the late Ron Goldman and the late now Nicole Brown Simpson. And again, God rest her soul, no one should ever have to deal with that. No one. I'm pro not harming anybody. But for the jury that said the families of the victims should be awarded over $100 million, between $33 million and $100 million, what are the families, descendants of child slavery, worth for the millions that were murdered? Georgetown pledged over $1 billion and counting to 272 black families. Just $1 billion. That's 10 times $100 million. So, if you think about that, the Simpsons passed away at age 76, revealed that the victims' lawyers, that the $33 million was accumulated interest and become over $100 million. Now, if that's the case, that's what juries do. But if two white victims are worth $100 million, what are millions of black victims worth that were lynched, murdered, set fire by the United States government? May lightning strike! If two white people are worth $100 million according to the courts, what are millions of black people worth for being lynched, murdered, set fire to, sanctioned by the United States government? Oh, can't you just tell us who won the golf tournament, Big C? I will. So O.J. Simpson found liable in court in 1997 based on compensation. They're saying it's now worth $100 million. As a result, use the same math for descendants of child slavery when we talk about reparations now, reparations forever. Isn't that amazing? So as a result, people are curious if the families of Ron Goldman, the late Ron Goldman, and the late Nicole Brown Simpson will still receive the money, given that the former NFL star has passed away after a long battle with cancer. And that's up for the attorneys to decide. But from what I understand, his properties are in a trust, so they can't get anything. The trust becomes irrevocable as he's passed away, and so it stays in the trust, and the controllers of the trust most likely will be his children or that are the heirs. According to a report by the Daily Mail, the families of the victims, they go around collecting the debt, even though the former running back has now passed away. An attorney for Ron Goldman's family told media that they've been pursuing the debt for years now, and that's about 30 plus years now. So after O.J. Simpson has passed away, he'll be going to work on collecting whatever's possible through the Simpson estate, and they can't get anything. If they could have gotten something, they wouldn't have gotten it now. If they could have gotten something, they would have gotten it by now. They can't get anything, from what I've been told by lawyers. So they said you have to start to look over here. The debt collection attorney told the Mail, a media source, we're going to work on that. There might be something out there. There might be something out there. There might be something out there. Yeah, it's called a trust. We've had this problem for a long time. And it could be in a trust. It could be in probate. it could be all gone. According to reports, Simpson had a net worth of about $13 million from his NFL career when the trial for the murder started in 1994. Since the compensation imposed on him was far greater than his net worth, he was not able to pay it in his lifetime. However, he still earned money via NFL pension and Screen Actors Guild for his brief stint as an actor, and his income, which isn't required to go towards his court settlement, is believed to be worth anywhere from $250,000 to $3 million. If they could have gotten the money, they would have already have gotten it. And that's why I say 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. When you talk about having a trust, especially you business owners, this is a perfect example why the RDC team is so valuable. No matter what you say, everybody has their own opinion about, oh, I'm going to be okay, no one's going to bother me. No one's ever going to bother me. No one will ever come after my assets. Well, some people might think that. But it's a case in point that O.J. Simpson is already doing this a long time ago. No matter what you think, anyone can be accused of anything, and according to if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And for those people that think, oh, he got to be guilty. The same Los Angeles Police Department that said he was guilty is the same Los Angeles Police Department that said they did not beat Rodney King until they saw it on videotape. And then when the whole world saw it on videotape, they got a white jury to say, you don't believe your lying eyes or what we say. And they brought the race into it because the white jury, they neglected to go by what they saw with the beating of Rodney King. But they wanted to go by what they did not see. They want to trust the LAPD that has a whole history of doing some bad things in certain communities in Los Angeles. People know about it. It's been even documented. I just hope, for whatever it is, that those families will find some healing. And I'm one person, but I believe if a settlement, because I'm so pro reparations, and I'm finding mainstream white media, they love calling a man that was acquitted a felon. So if OJ, according to white media, is a felon for being told not guilty by a court of law, if he's a felon, then what does that make the United States government for all the murders that happened during slavery? I'll ask you one more time. If a man that was acquitted of a homicide by a jury is still labeled as a felon by mainstream white media, what do you call the United States government that sanctioned slavery from 1619 to 1865? Are they felons? Just a question. Because that's how the media wants to say, oh, we don't need to pay no reparations. That happened a long time ago. But they don't call the United States government felons, do they? Was the lady that quiet that she was touched by Emmett Till and she lied? Was she considered a felon that caused a young black man to be beaten to death by a mob of white people? Were the people that destroyed and murdered hundreds of black Americans in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called the Wall Street Massacre, were they labeled as white felons? They were not. And I just want to ask that question because it's important that if someone has a harm done against them, they should be able to recover in a court of law. But why is a man who was acquitted of a capital punishment considered a felon by white media, but a country that sanctioned and legalized slavery from 1619 to 1865 not called a felony? And then you still argue that we don't deserve no reparations? Makes you think twice, doesn't it? Or then maybe it doesn't. Because media is mostly controlled by white people, and they made it all about black and white. But if there was so much disdain for egregious behavior for a man that was told not guilty in a court of law, why does society still fight against reparations? And I just wonder that. Again, I believe in liberty and justice for all, but it's amazing how oftentimes from 1619 to 1865, there are white citizens and these white juries and these white judges, through the crime bill that even President Biden signed, it incarcerated millions of black people, men and women, on drug offenses that their white counterparts don't get prosecuted on. They usually get counseling and let go. And that's a fact. So for people that say, oh, we know he did it, and you never saw it on tape, well, the LAPD said he did it. They also said they did not beat Rodney King. Without a reasonable doubt, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Now I'm all for people paying the price if they commit a crime. So what crime does America pay for the sanctioned slavery from 1619 to 1865? Oh, that was a long time ago. Where's the white outrage for slavery? And all the millions of murders is so egregious they even have a museum in Alabama where they have plaques hanging from the ceilings to indicate all the lynchings that went on that were state sanctioned by the United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. How much money are the descendants of chattel slavery owed? Man, can't we just watch golf? Can't we just watch golf, Big C, please? You're scaring me. I'm just saying, if you believe what some of these attorneys are saying, that 2 victims, their families are worth $100 million now for 2. How much money are descendants of chattel slavery worth now? Because it's more than 2. There were more than 2. If the same white outrage existed when slavery was happening in this country from 1619 to 1865, maybe they could have stopped it. There were some abolitionists that tried to stop it. But there are so many people that still to this day in 2024, oh, we don't need no reparations. That happened a long time ago. And now in 2024, they're saying that descendants of 2 victims deserve $100 million. How does that make sense? And all I ask is put them on the reparations task force. If they think 2 bodies, unfortunately, their lives were taken from them, God rest their soul. If they're worth $100 million for 2, how much money are descendants of chattel slavery worth for the lynchings and the murders that happened to black Americans? That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. It's a shame that it happened to anybody. But what I love about doing a show where we can be honest, I want to make sure that we're honest all the way. What they call President Abraham Lincoln Honest Abe. Before I get into some sports, I want you to hear something. Listen to this.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, to, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, Today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, and this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, you know, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it, I mean, murdered them, he murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. You know, it's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
It's amazing to me when we talk about two victims, God rest their souls, and now you have attorneys saying their family members are worth $100 million. That's what they should be awarded for two people. When it deals with descendants of chattel slavery, not only were they murdering men, they were murdering women, they were murdering children. So how much are descendants of chattel slavery owed if two white people are worth $100 million? And then we have people say, oh, we don't deserve no reparations. Think about that the next time you're anti-reparations, when you want to reward a family member for two fatalities. God rest their souls. And I'm all for people getting compensation. But if two white people are worth $100 million, what are millions of black people do for sanctioned slavery in the United States? They like this strike. That's my story, and take it with it. I told you Big C Sports is real. And it's a real question. I want people to answer that question as you're talking about what people should be paid out for lost lives. Unfortunate as it is. Just be fair. A life is a life. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to go to Augusta, Georgia, and I know some people don't like golf, but I do. In your life, in the hole. I tell you, there's a lot of excitement down in Augusta, Georgia, especially for Tiger Woods, still trying to do his thing. I'm not going to get into where he stands right now, but having a pretty decent day at the Masters according to the leaderboard. And I will get into some of the standings at some point in time, but DeChambeau had a good day. He finished at 7 under. And then Scheffler actually had a good day. He finished -6. A couple other good people in there too. Willett -4. Hogard had -5. Fox -3. There's a lot of other people that were out there swinging the club. And the great McIlroy, it finished at -1. The great Tiger Woods, a 5-time major champion, he's right now finished, at the time I'm going to talk about it, -1, but I'm not going to get into where he stands for the entirety of the golf day down at beautiful Augusta National Invitational. I know everybody has their own thoughts. I just want to play a little something that you could hear. Not only with the birds singing, it's a little bit about Tiger Woods. Sometimes he gets off the green, but at the same time, for the man to be able to play golf the way he's been able to play with that repaired leg, for anyone that's going through any kind of injury, and you have a player that has been able to just get the world to stop when he's playing golf, it's amazing that he's out there playing in the 88th Masters. And I hope he wins, but it's a long shot. It's a long shot for Tiger. But the fact that he's even out there, that to me is amazing. So no matter what happens in the golf tournament today, I'm hoping that we will see great golf over the weekend coming down the back nine, because there's a lot of good things happening in the world of golf, and I know a lot of people are tuned into the Augusta National Invitational that's called the Masters now. But that's my story. I'm sticking with it. May lightning strike! They say there's also a guy that may come onto the scene like lightning. They call him Big C. Not a well-known golfer. He's known by some people to be a loudmouth. Some people say he talks too fast. Some people say he talks too slow. But they say one thing: if Big C gets out on the 88th Masters golf course, they say, get your ass set off the golf course. You didn't make the cut. I said, what'd you say to me? They said, get your ass set off the golf course. You didn't make the cut. And I said, not only did I make the cut, I shot 66. They said, let us see your scorecard, Big C. I said, you don't need to see my scorecard. It's my story that I'm sticking with it. You know, I always imagine, just like a lot of people, that you're actually out there playing for the green jacket. And imagine if they pulled me in on the 18th hole, and I'm tied with Tiger Woods, coming up on the 18th hole, and you know sometimes he doesn't stay on the green, but me, I love greens. In fact, I never turned down to play the collard greens in my life. Imagine Big C up on the green, and all I got to do is putt. All I got to do is putt a 1 foot putt for 12, make that $18 million. Big C up at the green on the 18th. If he hits this putt, he'll win the 2024 Masters, the 80th Masters, and win his first green jacket. What do we have? Big C up at the course. He has his proper stance. The crowd is quiet. Big C with the putt. The ball is rolling in your life. Yes, he did it! Do you believe in miracles? Big C just won the 2024 Masters. He's worth $18 million. Like Radio Raheem, wake up! Wake up. Hey, it's my dream, so I can have the kind of dream I want. Big C, the 2024 Masters champion, the Augusta National Tournament. That's my story. But now the more realism, got some NBA playoffs before we close out the day. The 2023 NBA basketball regular season coming to a close, and the playoff odds are right there, shaping up. Man, there's a lot of tension in the world of NBA locker rooms, because a lot of good old boys, they can either play their way in or they can play their way out. Everybody has their own thoughts about it. I love this time of year for basketball, especially NBA basketball. It's such an exciting game. You have teams on the fringe, like the OKC Thunder have NBA playoff odds around. People have them in the top 3 in the Western Conference. I think they'll get knocked out in the playoffs, though I just don't think they have the experience. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander aside, they don't have, in my opinion, what it takes to win the Western Conference, but they probably get a playoff win. And then playoff looks like the Milwaukee Bucks will be around, what they say, right around the cup, where they can get in the hole. That's a golf metaphor, Big C. But if they can get in the hole in the NBA playoffs, then they'll most likely get into the Eastern Conference Finals. They have, it just depends on how well Giannis is, but he had a hitch in his giddy up. But then you got the Atlanta Hawks. A lot of people love the Boston Celtics, and that they're favored to win the Eastern Conference. But they were favored last year. They got taken out by the Miami Heat. You got the Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world of golf. And for me, I love the game, no matter what people think about golf. It's something that you got to love, because there are times in life where people may have chosen a paint drying contest to a golf tournament. But that's if you don't have respect for the game. Get respect in your mouth when you talk about golf. If that makes sense to you. But at the same time, Cleveland, you got to like them in the Eastern Conference. The Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference, arguably the best team in the Western Conference. I also like the LA Clippers in the Western Conference. You got to give them a lot of respect too. And again, the Oklahoma City Thunder, people like them for some reason. I think because they're new. And sometimes you just want to try something new, but at the end of the day, I don't see them being battle tested. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I do have to say, a team that should be and could be maybe the best NBA fan base. People may not agree with this either, because every fan base says that they're the best fan base. But there's something about the Sacramento Kings that they've shown up and shown out for years, especially the last couple of years that they've been winning games. Just to see Doco Arena, Golden One Center, that'd be great to see the Kings in the playoffs based on how well the crowd showed up for this series against the Golden State Warriors last year, at least in Northern California. And then what would the NBA playoffs be without the great LeBron James and without the great Anthony Davis? And what would it be without the great Steph Curry for three? Or Klay Thompson for three? Or another technical foul? Oh, you know his name, Draymond Green. You know, we love to see the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in sports, and I think that's what it adds. I love this time of year NBA basketball. People are getting tight, and their sphincters are getting tight. And the sphincter gets tight, sometimes you gotta have asset protection. 800-772-8624. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I know people have their thoughts on NBA playoffs, but the NBA's play-in tournament, it takes place right before the start of the postseason, and the tournament decides the number 7 and number 8 seeds in the Eastern Conference and the number 7 and number 8 seed in the Western Conference. Now, the format gives an advantage to the teams with the higher regular season winning percentage, as the teams with the 7th highest and 8th highest winning percentages, they each get 2 chances to win 1 game to earn a playoff berth. And the teams with the 9th highest and also the 10th highest winning percentage in each conference, they have to nab 2 straight victories to earn a place in the traditional postseason under this format. And I like it. I didn't like it at first, but I like it now. The Heat in the Eastern Conference and the Lakers in the Western Conference were the most successful teams to advance out of the play-in round in 2023, and then Miami actually got to the NBA Finals where they lost to the Denver Nuggets. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. For all the people that have thoughts about liberty and justice for all, and I'm all for liberty and justice for all, but if you are mainstream media and they want to label someone a convict, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. What do they say about a country that held people in slavery, government-sanctioned slavery from 1619 to 1865, and refused to pay reparations? But you think a family deserves a settlement? Reparations first. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start drinking if they've been driving. The life you save may be your own, or someone that you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents called her Mama, and also Pop on my mama's side. My grandmother called her Muddia. My grandfather called them Hezekiah. 2 wonderful people. They were seers. They could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And then I could always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. That was a Head Start program, a food program. They coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. The best person I ever met in my life. Always seeing rise and shine. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert Curry and Alberta Curry, they were pastors and also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, owned 3 churches, and 40 acres of land. I was 8 years old in Oakland when my grandmother told me, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms, streaming on 4 TV platforms. You know, I really do appreciate that. I have a neighbor who played for the Oakland A's who said he actually saw the Coliseum when it was being built. We're talking about the A's coming to Sacramento. He said he's happy for the A's, but he's sad for the Bay Area fans, all fan level war. My beautiful brother, actually my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. That's how we speak. Always saying go forward, a voracious reader. Love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees of honors, and 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast. It was back in the day at Salem Media. And from there, we went on to become the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It's because of Big C and two beautiful, intelligent black men and the crew. But then shenanigans happened. And the show went away with them. They're having layoffs, and I'm still rising and shining. I give God praise for that. I will always rise and shine. And then I'm telling him, Dave, you can be anything you want to be. Don't let any confusion happen to you. Watch how the media deals with black men accused of anything. Most of them are white, and they want to destroy us. You've seen it in your own life. It's a shame. Don't let it happen to you. If that makes sense to you. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, every night a good man. Son, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and Google, or look up the newspaper for stats on players and teams for Big C Sports Podcast. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went up. I've been Googling it ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms, streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now you can see it on streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Son, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. But watch how the white mainstream media treats black men. Because you're one of them. They love it when the black man is down. They try to divide us, and you know it's true. Don't let it happen to you. Pay attention, I'm telling you. You got to understand what I'm telling you is true. You can be anything you want to be, but be careful when people try to bring you down. Don't let it happen to you. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then Big C, with all that wealth and knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast, I have no scripts. I have no three-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. And I always rise and shine. I'm going to tell you, I do that all the time. I try to rise and shine for everything that I do. You can't always make people happy. But I will do the best that I can with Big C Sports Podcast. I will always do that. And now I always pay homage to President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to chant reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no one greater than Muhammad Ali. And as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. We know that's so true. Anyone going upside your head, you gotta call 911. Anyone that loves you, they don't hit you. They don't kick you. They don't beat you. They just hope you're dumb enough to let them back in. Call 911, that's my story, I'm taking to it. Well, as I always tell you, I'm gonna honor President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. King. When they said sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. And one more time. I want you to sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. Yeah, like you want to win the golf tournament. Get in the hole. Sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.